It's Astrology Roast. I think it needs to sound like a shitty intro, like a funny shitty intro.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Astrology Roast. My name is still Karen.
And my name is still Itai, and this is part 2 of the most of every sign in the recent past, which is such a catchy name, and it just rolls off your tongue, you know?
I know, it's such a deep topic that it really lends itself to a 2-part documentary series that we've created.
No.
But thank you everyone for tuning in, for all the star signs that only give a shit about their own star sign. It makes it a bit easier for you to tune out. So I think it's good that we've split this into 2. But yes, this is part 2 of the most of the star signs that we've had contact with in the last 2 weeks. So where are we up to?
First of all, I love that our episode about the big roast, which we roast every sign of the 12 signs of all time, is 1 hour, and our roast of the past 2 weeks is a 2-part episode. It doesn't make any sense.
I know. Have our weeks become more full, or have we just become more long-winded in how we talk? Like, what's shifted here? Like, I can't tell. Have we become worse at this?
There's so many options.
Probably the latter.
Maybe we're getting older, so we just want to talk, and we just want to let everyone know about our lives, like grandparents.
Yes, and we want our grandchildren to write our memoirs about our lives as well.
It's true. I found myself talking to a 20-year-old person this week, and I was talking about obviously the only topic I can talk about, which is the 2007 Britney meltdown. And I remember talking to her, and I was like, you were 10. Like, you don't realize we would get up in the morning to read the newspaper, and there were people actually betting online whether Britney will survive 2007. And then I heard myself, and I was like, first of all, you sound crazy. And secondly, like, why would she care? Like, she probably wouldn't have cared if she was 20 right now and this was happening, she wouldn't care. And why would she care? I was like, I felt like I'm a grandparent talking to someone that isn't even my grandkid, which is...
Yeah, but imagine, like, what a cool grandpa you'll be when you're... old and in the old age home, and you're sitting there screaming at whoever will listen. You weren't there. We didn't know if she would survive 2007 after Britney's meltdown. You weren't there. And
when the Slave for You video came out, and with the snake, like, you wouldn't get it. Everyone cared about it. She had a snake on stage. The red catsuit. You wouldn't get it. Oops, I did it again. God. When the camera fell on her face.
Your grandkids will be like, oh, Grandpa's talking about Britney's meltdown again. Just ignore him.
She had to get stitches.
He tends to go on a bit.
Oh, my God. You didn't know that the Babe One More Time video was her idea. You didn't know that. You're like, what is this video? Where do you watch videos? I only know when I think about something and it appears in my mind because technology is so advanced. And I was like, how do you work this? How do you work these things? I want to watch the VMAs when she kisses Madonna. Anyway, yeah, well, I'm going to be
Grandpa.
That's
Grandpa,
why
calm down.
I shouldn't have any kids, nor grandkids. I have nephews and nieces, and I'm going to be the best uncle for them, and I can scream at them. Wow, that really took me to a place.
It did. It really did. I felt that frustration of people not fully understanding the pain of Britney's meltdown and how, will she survive? Won't she survive? That was really raw for you.
Because it was. I was like in a boarding school. I was in a religious boarding school with no internet, with the Nokia, like, that didn't have color. Like, there wasn't any way to consume news. Like, it was hard. You just wake up and then in the newspaper it will say Britney Spears shaved her head. And I had to watch the Chris Crocker Leave Britney Alone video on the television. Like, it was just...
Wow.
I really felt like...
young people today don't know what suffering is.
They don't.
They don't know what it was like before you had the internet, when you only had Nokia phones and you could only find out about Britney's head shaving in the newspaper. That is,
Do you think?
wow, we've
do you
come
think
so
online-
far.
Do you think online bullying is hard? Try to be religious and fat with no connection to the internet when Britney is about to die, and then tell me that it's hard. Anyway.
Wow. Wow.
Anyway, last episode we finished on the Virgos, which is the sixth sign of the zodiac, the tipping point from which we go from under the zodiac to the top of the zodiac to the the top area, the top six.
They are all total tops, aren't they? And
they sure
who
are.
best to start this discussion, to dive in, so to speak? Librans.
The Librans. So
Librans.
I put up an online survey of who do you think is the sign that hates to be hated the most, that I cannot stand the idea of someone hating them. And obviously the sign that won was the Libra. The sign that just cannot handle any, situation where things isn't right. Which brings to the question, like, why do you like to stir so much shit up if you don't like the consequences, Because they do
I don't know. They do like. Look, we're not yet fully in Libran season, at least not when we're recording this podcast. And I'm kind of excited and a bit scared. We're about to tip into their season. I haven't had so much crazy Libran connections in the last few weeks. My, father, who I don't see very often, who sends me a lot of strange SMSs about sunflower propagation. Haven't had that much to do with him. Him and my mum are on a walking trip in Queensland, living their best lives. And I haven't had enough Libran energy in my life. So I'm excited for their month to come because, whenever a sign's month comes, you get all the birthday invitations. You start to remember who identifies as that sign, and it gets really exciting because I've always enjoyed Libran energy so thoroughly, particularly in the space of friendship. I have had a couple of exes who've been Libran, and that's also been wonderful and great. I don't think they're listening, but I wish them well.
I think that Libras,
as friends, Primo
they're
is
great.
friends.
And the Libra season is, I don't know if I'm basing that on facts, but I really have a memory of Libra season last year being really fun, and I'm excited for it. Because I couldn't think of any stories that were the most Libra. I did come up with a story that was the most un-Libra. And it's obviously about me. So the Libras are known to be ruled by Venus. They're known to have one of the best aesthetics of the zodiacs. They can make a house look good. They can make an outfit look good. They just have that Libra touch. And as someone that is, I think I can say I'm a lazy person when it comes to my personal surroundings. So I might be like to work and I like to be active, but I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cleaning up things and my body and my room. And I remember when I would wash my sheets, and then I put my sheets off, I take them off and I put them in the washing machine. And by the time they're in the washing machine, I already finished all of my energy towards my room. So I don't have enough energy to put new sheets on. So what I would do, I would just sleep inside my bare bed, inside a sleeping bag. And I think if you're a Libra, you are probably, or any person, let's be honest, with a common sense and common
with dignity, with some
dignity. Hygiene is the word I'm using. Yes. I'm looking for. You probably would be shocked by this story, but what can I say? And also, sleeping bags are super warm and comfy.
Yeah, it's really strange because I think that you do embody some of those Libran qualities of loving bling and loving glitz and glitter. True. And you do love the aesthetic. You just spoke about the snake in Britney Spears' video, and Librans would pay attention to those kind of details.
True. Maybe it's my Taurus
When it comes
Venus.
to your room, my God, Itai. I don't know what goes on there. Nothing makes sense. You know, the sheets are never on the bed. It like doesn't make quite sense. Like, how are you sleeping and what's happening there? The heater always on, constantly in a robe. Like, you are wearing a robe that has your name on it, an embroidered robe which says Itai. So that's kind of a bit Libran too. But I don't know what goes on there. You need some help. You need to get a Libran to come and beautify your new space.
No, the only time I clean my room is when someone is supposed to come into my room and to have sex with me. But that's like the only times. And that's, let me tell you, it isn't often. It ain't often. Yeah, but Libras, we'll make sure to gather some more relevant stories for you for our next for our next two-part.
We're struggling here. We're struggling. So moving on and diving headfirst into our next sign. Gosh, I just did a blank. Who comes after the Librans?
Ooh, is it a blank or is it a PTSD? Is it a post-traumatic reaction to your experience?
It's 100%. It's the latter. I just got a shiver. I just had a shiver in my body. A premonition that something terrible's about to happen. But yes, the next sign is Scorpio season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scorpio.
And I have had a couple of dealings in the last little while with Scorpio moons. So, people are bored of me constantly saying that, yes, I do have a bit of PTSD when it comes to Scorpios. I am like a moth to the flame, like magnetically attracted to them. And I never quite get it. And it doesn't feel very healthy for anyone, mainly for me. But I found lately, sometimes I'm like, why am I into this person or what's happening here? And I do a bit of a sneaky natal chart reading, often without the person's consent, by finding their birthday on Facebook or on Instagram. And lo and behold, more often than not, they have a Scorpio moon. And it just tricks me every time. I'm like, oh, okay, you're this star sign. I get what you're about. I'm going to be safe. Heartbreak isn't going to happen. But then, like a little moth to a little flame, it ends up they have a Scorpio moon and I can't resist, or I'm drawn to it. I know my limitations, so I know that when I find that out, okay, proceed with caution, tell people about it, tell them, that you're going out with this person and send them a screenshot of the location so they can find you when you've been, missing for a couple of months.
Always.
Maybe you've been missing because of pleasure. Maybe you've been missing because of pain. Like, it's hard to know. You're in a bit of a vortex, so you don't really get out of it. But yes, Scorpio moons, don't at me, but come at me.
Well, the Scorpio, I don't have many Scorpios in my life, but one of my best friends is a Scorpio. We spoke about him. He's a Scorpio with a Leo moon. And he is like every other Scorpio, super sexual. Like, usually he would text me. He's like a mirror, like a black mirror, you can say, to my life. So yes. I would be sitting on my couch, watching like the 20th tasty videos. And I don't watch the 60 seconds tasty videos. I watch the documentaries they make about, I made a giant pizza ball, I made a giant souffle, and it's like a 14-minute episode about
Do you think...
Yeah?
Do you think that your attraction to tasty videos, is that a Virgo moon thing? Because
I think it's
watching someone achieve something?
It's Taurus Venus, definitely, and it's also just plain old anxiety and just something that just is in front of you. But it's really amazing. Honestly, I really enjoy it. It's I don't have the attention span to watch a series or a movie, but a 14-minute episode, I can spend 3 hours watching many 14 minutes episode, series of tasty. Anyways, I would do that. And I would watch the 20th one, and then I'll text him and I'll be like, hey, what's up? And he would go, amazing, I just left an orgy and I fucked 5 guys and I slapped them and then they slapped me and then they pissed on me and everything, and I'll be like, and then he would be like, how are you? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm good. And I was just like, when you write it and you feel like this is the lie of our generation, like you can write "I'm good" when you're like clearly ain't. You're just like sitting on a couch for so long. Anyway, but he's a Scorpio, but he has a Leo moon, which really brings an amazing combo because he's super attuned to people's energies, like a real Scorpio. But then his Leo moon makes it all about himself. So a few days ago, he was complaining to me about how he was sitting on a bench, and then this guy came and tried to scam him. He was like, "Hey, I really need the money. Like, I'm stuck here, and I don't have enough money to go home." And he could tell he's scamming him. And he was like, and the way he told me the story, he was like, "I felt his energy, and it was such a dark energy, but it was so unfair to me because I had such a bad day, and I felt like it was so unfair to me that he came to me and tried to scam me." And I was like, that is such an interesting experience.
Yes, wow. I really deeply feel your pain, but I am so disappointed that you would even think to share that pain and ruin my day.
It was so funny.
I love it.
Yeah, that Leo moon, I think that's the craziest moon is a Leo moon. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, wow. I haven't encountered enough Leo moons.
Yeah,
and of course, as with all Leo things, we end up talking about them again. How do they always do that? I'm like, I've got more things to say about Leos. No, we're talking about Scorpios.
They always
and how
find
they
a way.
destroy me psychologically.
Oh my God.
But Scorpios, yes, I've met a few of them, and the same patterns are still happening for me. So nothing has changed in that regard. Good,
there is order
nice,
in this world.
Consistent.
There is order in this
There
world,
is.
and there is also order in the signs. So from Scorpio to the next, Sagittarius.
Yes, Saggies. I have had some good interactions with some lovely, beautiful Saggies this week who are all just being typically themselves. I just met for lunch and coffee with one of my favourite Sagittarians ever. He's been on the podcast a number of times, the beautiful Max, the inimitable Max.
Love Max.
He is just creative, intelligent, kind, beautiful soul. And I was getting some guidance from him because I'm facilitating a panel this weekend, and I've been very, very excited but also nervous about it. And he was so generous and forthcoming with his advice, but in his true Sagittarian style, he just took it to wild places. So all of a sudden he's got telling me about cultural critique and this is this article about this. And we actually talked about how both of us share the same desire to have an IV drip of content put into us. So constantly, if I could have an IV drip of constant podcasts, shows, ideas, articles put into me and constantly,
absorbing,
constantly rolling so I could never be present in my real world, I would. And he is so across so many different areas of content, and he can constantly tell you, what about this podcast and this article and this YouTube clip and this TV series, and it always leaves me floored because it leaves me confused. But Sagittarius is the opposite sign to Gemini, so
yes.
Whilst Geminis are all about chatting and ideas and short trips and communication, Sagittarius is all about dissemination of ideas, sharing it, putting it out there. And, when I talk to him about our shared love of wanting to constantly have a feed of content playing in our brains, I mean, I'm sure in 5 or 6 years we will live to see the day when that's possible. And I hope I'm around to see that.
Cannot wait.
But he said, look, it's a problem. It's not a good thing that I experience, and it's really stressful. And I'm like, I get it. Sure, we have anxiety, and this is a way that we ease and soothe our anxiety, and your way, Itai, is tasty videos, and his way is moving from cultural discussions around everything that's wrong with Jill Soloway's most recent book. I loved that book, but he was like, look, there's this opinion and that opinion, and then there's this TV series that Jennifer Lopez was the producer for, and I was like, whoa, slow down. But it's always an adventure. It's a journey, and it usually ends with us walking to the supermarket, the expensive supermarket in Brunswick, whilst he smokes cigarettes, and then he buys some cheese, and then he bought some eggs, and the eggs fell all in the store. But it's this beautiful dynamic conversation that always happens, but can be very perplexing and very philosophical and very deep. So I have got a lot of time for Sagittarians. I also met another Sag, or not met, I had dinner with another Sag the other night at my house, and she said some of the most Sagittarian things. She says that she's been told she's one of the most blunt people in her workplace.
Wow, surprise.
And she also was saying that, surprise, exactly. And she was also saying about how she's very angsty, but she's actually in a long-term relationship, and she seemed very disappointed by that and very restricted by that. And she said that every 6 months they break up like clockwork. They know that, and that her boyfriend or partner says to her, can we just, when they're having an argument, can we just break up now? Can we just get that over and done with and then get back together? And I just loved that discussion, and she's like, literally, she wants to break up so she can be free and travel, and, all of these this restlessness that Sagittarians feel. They're always restless, and they don't want to be tamed, and they want to either be traveling in their mind, so with ideas and with philosophy, or they actually want to be traveling. So they're super fun to be around, but they're constantly feeling a little bit restricted and trapped. I mean, I know that we already talked about Brittany. We talk about her a lot, but I don't, there's a lot going on for her at the moment. We don't need to talk about it because Itai, you already sounded like you really
lost my mind at the beginning of this episode.
You lost your mind, and I don't want to trigger more of that, but it sounds like Brittany's been going through some hard times, and her Instagram is always reflective of what's happening for her. So Sagittarians, I'm actually really excited to get to Sagittarius month in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, it's going to be
they're really fun. I'm learning to love them.
My most Sagittarius thing that I heard was one of my colleagues, which is very much a Sag. She was talking about how when she was a kid, she would make people sit in the shower. Like she would be taking a shower, and she would make a friend or like someone to sit and entertain her while she's having a shower, because she would be bored. She'd be like, I would get bored, so I would make my friends come and like talk to me when I'm in the shower. And I was like, they do like to be entertained. Like they don't like a second of boredom. Like they get crazy.
Dullness, no.
Yeah.
Boredom is the enemy of the Sagittarius.
But I really loved your metaphor of like having that IV of content. Like I really feel like that's a metaphor that I will take with me into the future, because
to the old age home.
Yes. Right after I scream about like, how Blackout, the Britney album Blackout, should have gone to #1, and they changed the rules on the week that it came out, and that was outrageous. I would then move forward into telling people about the metaphor of the Gemini and the Sag being constantly infused with content, because I really think that you guys I really think, like, according to astrology, your role is communication and knowledge and passing it through and bringing it to people. So it's cool.
And it is our affliction. It's also our affliction. It is also what keeps us very agitated and stressed and restless all the time. But it can be our strength and our gift. So I always have a really great time with Sagittarians because their minds are so vivid and active and adventurous and bold. And, whilst they can be in a lot of pain sometimes because of the way their mind works, when they can channel that or when they can accept that, it's actually really lovely to be around them. So, yeah, Sages, I got a lot of love for you this week. That could change because I'm a Gemini, so you caught me on a good moment. Who's next?
Capricorn.
After Saggy Sag. Capricorns, yes. Well, I haven't had that much going on with Capricorns the last few weeks. I have been working with a Capricorn and a Taurus in my current social work job, and they are constantly just on auction sites on at work, so I can hear them going, "How much did that one bid for?" That's pretty low. Okay, what about the chairs? What do you think? They're, Scandinavian chairs. What about this chandelier? And I was like, okay. They're constantly just buying shit online at work, and that's been quite nice and comforting. They're still achieving something because they're all doing renovations in their homes, the Taurus and the Capricorn.
Nice.
But yeah, it doesn't seem to be quite on the task. But yeah, Capricorns, and they're always gently nudging me about what to do. So this particular Capricorn is always like, Karen, do you think maybe you should do this? Or do you think maybe you should call that client? I'm like, yes, obviously I should. And that's a fantastic idea. And then I do it. But they are always getting shit done. So, kudos to them.
Kudos to you, Capricorns. Well, my story is obviously about my Capricorn mom, which is arguably the most Capricorn person to ever walk this earth. Maybe after Jesus, according to Christianity, but still. I don't think I've ever seen my mom scared or terrified in my life. Like, she's always been very strong and collected, except for when I came out and she literally dropped to the floor, but that's for another episode. She told me about her, she got back to uni recently, and she told me about her biggest fear in uni. And she was like, I'm just really scared of group assignments. And that's, and then she explained why. She was like, I just can't trust anyone to be as serious about the assignment as me. And I was like,
God. And it's true.
It's true. And they probably won't be as serious as you, because they probably would be as serious as you should be towards an assignment from the university. And you would be extremely serious. So what can I say? But
oh my gosh. I sometimes see your mum's posts on Facebook and they're all in Hebrew, and I don't ever understand what on earth it's talking about because, surprise, surprise, I don't actually speak the language. But I always feel stressed by it. I feel like it's a call to action, or it's something that's happening that she's organizing or doing, or she's connecting someone, or she's promoting an event, or she's created something. And It just feels very hectic and frenetic and outcome oriented.
It is.
Like, I should pay attention. Even if I can't speak the language, that's no excuse not to pay attention to what she's shared.
She just sent me screenshots the other day. She's organizing like a film, she's bringing the director of a film that is about a religious gay guy that's having like conversion therapy to become straight.
Wow.
So she's bringing it into our religious community, and it's like an option, like people can come and hear this guy speak and watch the movie. And she got texts, like people texted her saying, hey, I just want to say that I can hear people saying that they really don't like it, and that's an understatement that you're bringing this person. And then, so like it's one text, and then my mom screenshot it, and there's like 100 texts from her, like replying to that person. It's like, listen, this event is not for homophobes. It's about quality, not quantity. And he's like, went straight there. It was like, if you're homophobic, don't come. This is for people who want to hear, like, it's just like amazing how there's no escalation of the conversation. It's like someone gives you a piece of information, and then the Capricorn is just like, this is everything I have to say in that matter. Goodbye. It's just amazing. It's not for everyone.
Oh, she's so impressive. She really is a special someone. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, Capricorns just doing their business, being great. Who comes after them?
Well, that's my PTSD right there. Aquarius.
Yes. I felt that. I really felt that. I was like, oh, here we go. Aquarians. Yes, I've had stuff to do with Aquariuses or Aquarians.
Did you?
Obviously, they can't choose how they want to be referred to. Well, yes, I was invited by a young Aquarius to go to an underpants party. So a party where everyone is in their underpants. And, you know, I'm too old for this shit. And, you know, I would have to purchase fancy underpants for such an event. And that seems like a lot of effort. So I politely said, thanks, but no thanks. But I love this Aquarius because she just texts me randomly like, hey babe, what's up, you know, what about this, and then I don't hear from her for like another 6 weeks. So kind of similar to all the other air signs in that sense, but they tap in with something fascinating and interesting and connected, and then they just tap out and you never hear from them for ages, and it always leaves you did I imagine this, you know, leaves you wanting more. What's happening here?
I know,
but they're great.
I had an experience with an Aquarius that isn't an Aquarius thing to do, I feel, but maybe there was an Aquarius element to it in the sense that that person didn't see me at all. But I was at a wedding, and my Aquarius cousin, God bless her soul, who hasn't seen me for, I can say 7 years, I would say, came up to me on the dance floor as we were dancing for her brother's wedding. And then she goes, oh my God, there's another gay guy here. And I was like, here we go. And I was like, oh, cool. And she's like, yeah, he's really sweet. And then the most triggering sentence ever. He's really sweet and he's also dying to meet someone.
Aww.
I was like, hold the fuck on. I am not dying to meet anyone. I'm actually dying afraid of meeting someone. And then she was like, so obviously I told her that. I was like, I will not be mistaken for someone who's dying to meet. Like, I worked so hard to advocate for single life. Anyway, so I go, I'm not looking to meet anyone. And then she goes, stay right here. I'm getting him. I'm going to find him. And I'm like, I'm dancing in the spot. And then she brings him. And I was like, it was like the most awkward thing. We shook hands, and then he just moved and danced on his own with his friends. And I could see they all like turning around to look at me. And I'm like, they all think I want to meet someone. And that is the hardest thing I need to experience. God. So an Aquarius, I feel like Aquarius.
Did Robin start playing I'm Dancing on My Own? And did you just have a moment where you turned back and looked at him and was like, I don't need you, and then like slipped on something and fell over? Or
I am asking to be excluded from this narrative, as Taylor Swift says. Well,
you don't get a choice. You don't get a choice.
I really don't. But you know what? I really feel like it's unfair to Aquarians because they're known to be very socially aware and very like, you know, they wouldn't do those, oh my God, you both are gay, you should be together. Like, they know better. They usually will make fun of people that do that. So yeah, I don't know what the rest of her chart is, but that was a very, very annoying. But it did give me like a funny tweet that got semi-viral. So thanks for that.
Yeah. So they leave you with something. They always leave you with something.
You know what? In their defense, my Aquarius dad and my Aquarius cousin gave me many tweets that I'm very happy with. So thanks, Dad.
They did. And lest I remind you, your Aquarius dad gave you life.
True. That I did not ask for, as I used to scream at him when I was 15 and angry that I'm fat and have a crooked nose.
Speaking of giving life, and lives that we don't ask for, Pisces at the top of the very chart, and you know, always feeling the feelings of the collective zodiac, and you know, tapping into sensibilities and psychic consciousness that the rest of us are kind of just going, oh, la di da da da, and this Pisces amongst us are feeling everything and all of it. And you know, probably your drug dealers are Pisces too, let's be honest. But have you had any encounters with any beautiful Pisceans this last couple of weeks? I haven't, and I'm a bit sad about that, to be honest. Well, but have you, Ito?
I have a theory that I want to really check, see if it's real. So if you're a Pisces or a Mercury Pisces and are in Israel or coming to Israel, hit me up. My theory is that on nights where my Mercury Pisces is alive, if I will sleep with someone, not like have sex, but like physically sleep in the same bed with someone, I have a theory that our dreams will merge and that we will be together in the same dream. I really want to experience, I really want to check it. Let me know if it happens for you, if it's true for you and you can come over and can sleep and we can check it. But in terms of a real experience that has happened and is true, we spoke on this podcast about my Pisces friend, which is also your Pisces friend now.
She is.
So our Pisces friend that came to Australia and spent 2 weeks with us, and we went to nature and we had a lot of Pisces experiences and it was really fun. And I often spoke on this podcast about how every Pisces I met in some way was a guardian angel, I felt. And she really was there in like the worst times of my life and in ways that like you couldn't plan. And last week when I moved into my new apartment, she's never in Tel Aviv, which is where I now kind of live in. She's never there. She hates the city like a true Pisces. She like gets confused and overwhelmed by all the energies and noises and stuff. And she's never like, she literally like once a year she would be in Tel Aviv, and she happened to be in Tel Aviv on the day that I was moving, and she told me she's gonna be there, and I was like, cool, maybe you can, come say hi, see my new place. She ended up coming exactly at the right time when I realized like I had to have an extra person because it was just me and one more Leo friend. And like it was just amazing. She was literally there for like the 3 hours that she needed to be there physically and mentally and everythingly. And it was just like the best thing ever. Thank you to my beautiful Pisces friend that is my guardian angel.
And I think particularly if you're a star sign that is maybe struggling with tapping into your consciousness or how you feel or what you need, that's okay. But as long as if you can surround yourself with Pisces or people that have those qualities, it does elevate your consciousness. They are tapping into what you are feeling. So it's a really useful strategy, for people that are struggling with that. So people such as myself that have an IV drip of content constantly coming into their brains and into their hearts, we need those psychic people around us. So
yes.
Anyway, just an aside. We all need to get along. But wow, this has been a very, very enlightening 2-part series.
Yes.
I really hope everyone has stuck around for the full 2 parts because I'm mindful that they were both quite long, so people might have just thought, they talked about my sign, but I've tapped out. But thank you to those who have stuck with it.
Yes.
And for letting us indulge in a sign-by-sign snapshot of how we've experienced the signs from our own lived experience for the last 2/3 weeks.
Yeah.
Itai, do you have any final words for this for this special series that we've released into the world?
Yeah, I think it's really been like an amazing series. I feel like I feel like overwhelmed. Like I think it's exceeded my expectations. I thought it was going to be 1 episode and it really turned into 2. I will say that Nicki Minaj...
I think we could have a 3rd episode. We could have a whole 3rd episode about our experience of the first 2 parts of this series.
Maybe we should do like
another 40 minutes.
Maybe we should do like a web series about our lives after this series. Yeah, we can do it.
Yes. Like 7 Up, like every 7 or 20 Up. That movie where they follow these children every 15 or 20 years and see what they're doing.
Let's do it.
Do that. But go on. Sorry.
I do want to say Nicki Minaj quit the music industry. I know it's not as shocking as the fact that Cameron Diaz quit acting, which
I was going to say, like she really copied Cameron Diaz there.
But it's also, it brings a question. If Cameron Diaz quits acting, but no one knows about it, did she really quit?
Whoa, did she ever even act?
Did she? But Nicki Minaj quit in the most Sagittarius way. She just wrote, I know you guys are happy. I've just decided to retire and have my family. And that was it. So I feel like it's also like, it's like twisting the knife. It's like, I know you guys are happy. Like, who's happy? Like, we love you.
Yes, calm down. We love you, exactly. Calm down.
Classic Sag.
Oh, gosh.
But I do want to wish you also, Karen, by the time this episode airs, you have already hosted a panel in the past in an amazing festival, which I can't wait to hear about, and I can't wait for you to share about it on our future episodes. But because we are now in the present and in real time, I will wish you luck in that, and I know you're going to nail it. And
let's just see. I'm very excited, and we're going to have some very exciting special things for the podcast in relation to this festival of Jewish Arts and Music.
Yes. Noe Velai, Chamsa,
Chamsa, and I'm sure it will all go well, but it is a ripper lineup. The organisers have done an incredible job at getting such an amazing, I think it's 139 Jewish artists, many from around the world, some local artists as well, in one room or one venue to show the breadth and the depth of Jewish arts and culture and identity. So it's a really ambitious, exciting, bold festival. I'm really excited to be part of it. Chamsa, hopefully it goes well and I don't, something terrible happens. But it's a Jewish festival, so all of us are planning for the worst anyway and imagining that it probably won't come to be. But I'm really excited for it, and we will have some astrology roast exciting stuff related to the Festival of Jewish Arts and Music, which follow us on Instagram if you want to be updated when something very exciting will be released.
Yes.
But other than that, thank you, Itai. I also wish you all the best in your life. And
thanks.
I know that Brittany's meltdown has impacted you. I know we spoke about it on this episode. So as always, look after yourself. To anyone listening that's been triggered or impacted by the chat today, look after yourself, have a bath. And thank you again for tuning in to Astrology Roast.
Do-do-do.
Ah!